Second leg of the semi-final of the Carabao Cup is tonight. Arsenal hosting Chelsea. Arsenal take a narrow lead into this game, but Chelsea are in fine form under new coach Liam Rosinha. We're going to also look at some championship games using our new AI football predictions tool, so stay tuned for that. But first, without further ado, let's get into it. So let's take a look at the data for both teams, and just before we do, remember to get your predictions in the comments on this video. Every comment is automatically entered into a draw to win OddAlerts Pro. I'm going to show you a brand new feature for OddAlerts Pro a little bit later in this video when we go and get some predictions for the championship that is also in action tonight. So get your predictions in the comments. Feel free to leave a like whilst you're down there as well. We're going to start with Arsenal and just take a quick look at their route to this stage so far. Just 3 games. It's pretty easy to get to this stage, isn't it, really, if you're a decent Premier League team in the Carabao Cup. Port Vale, 2-0, no worries. Brighton, 2-0, no worries. Crystal Palace, they had to get through on penalties. And then Chelsea, that was a great game, wasn't it? 3-2, second half performance from Chelsea gave them a fighting chance in this one. They've had a bit of a trend recently under Rosinha in terms of scoring in second halves. At the weekend against West Ham, 2-0 down at half time. And sticking with second half goals, there is a interesting insight about Arsenal as it relates to their form in the Carabao Cup. They have scored after 70 minutes in every single game that they've played. Now, that is a small sample size, of course, only 4 games, but they are a decent scoring team in the second half, generally speaking, as well. And for Chelsea, their form, their route to this stage, they've played weaker teams, you would say, Lincoln, Wolves, Cardiff and Arsenal. 2 of those not Premier League teams. Arsenal played 3 out of 4 Premier League teams, of course. And something that stands out here is BTTS. BTTS has landed in every single game that they've played in the Carabao Cup. And the BTTS trend for Chelsea does not stop there. But before we get to that, let's look at their form at the moment under Rosinha. They have won 6 of his 7 games. It started with a thumping victory over Charlton, then Arsenal, which was the Carabao Cup game. Again, big performance in the second half. He was happy with what he saw, so he said. Then they beat Brentford, then they beat Paphos, just about. Crystal Palace, Napoli and West Ham. And those last 3 games, they have scored 3 goals in each. And let's look at their away form because, as I said, the BTTS trend does not stop there. The last 8 away games for Chelsea has ended with both teams scoring. Could it happen tonight? Well, let's take a look at Arsenal's home form and look at the goals conceded section. It's red if they've conceded, green if they kept a clean sheet, and we can see just 1 home clean sheet for Arsenal since the 3rd of December. So they are conceding goals. If we look at the overall form, they kept a clean sheet away at Leeds. Leeds really didn't offer much, did they? I thought Leeds would continue their goal-scoring form or at least lay a glove on this Arsenal team, but they really didn't. And it is 3 clean sheets now since December for Arsenal in quite a few games. So they can be got at. They can concede. They conceded 3 at home to Manchester United. They followed that up by conceding 2 to Kairat, one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the Champions League this season. So now they have another home game. Will they concede tonight? Will BTTS land in this one? Let us know what you think in the comments for your chance to win OddAlerts Pro. Who's going to score? What's the scoreline going to be? Any predictions, any markets, any lines that you like the look of? Get them in the comments. Can't wait to read them. Another stat that you may be interested in is the foul count under Rosinha. We can see that they have committed 36 fouls in the last 3 games. And we will take a look in this video at player props as well, because there's a player that I do like the look of for a shot. Not a shot on target, just a shot, so stay tuned for that. We'll check out the player props tool in a little moment. But yeah, the foul count certainly has gone up since Rosinha took charge, and he does speak about wanting his team to press, play with so much energy, be on top of the opponents, start games strongly. And they haven't been starting games that great. They've been building into games, actually, with the help of his substitutions and late goals, second half goals, as we saw at the weekend. Let's take a look now at the head-to-head page, and we can see 69 games. Let's click that and change it. So in the last 5 games, no wins for Chelsea. In the last 10 games, no wins for Chelsea against Arsenal. 30% draw, 70% Arsenal, 7 wins for Arsenal, 3.4 goals per game on average across the last 10 games, over 2.5 in 60%. You can click this as well, and there's been a goal in every single game, 8.7 corners on average and 5.1 cards. Something else that I've just noticed as well when looking at the head-to-head is the card data. Both teams picked up at least 2 cards in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So the last 6 meetings between these teams from 2023 onwards, there has been at least 2 cards for both teams. Let's go and take a look at the card data and the referee for tonight, which I believe is Peter Banks. So we'll look at Peter Banks' Premier League record. I don't think he's officiating the Carabao Cup as of yet this season. And we can see 16 appearances in the Premier League this season, 4.19 cards per game. That's not bad. Red cards 4. Now the red cards metric is interesting, as we'll see in a moment, because Chelsea have been involved in a few of them, let's just say. Cards by half, always a swing for the second half with most referees, 3.06 per game compared to just 1.44 in the first half. We'll look at Peter Banks' fixture history because it's very interesting. The last game he took charge of Chelsea, officiated Chelsea, there were 6 yellow cards and a red card for Cucurella. That was in January. Cucurella is just back now, and it is worth scrolling down here because, as you see, there was another game here, Chelsea away at Burnley. There was 5 yellow cards in that game. And then the game before that, 8 yellow cards and 3 red cards. So 19 yellow cards and 4 red cards in the last 3 Chelsea games Peter Banks has officiated. Now, before we jump to the player props tool, let's take a look at the odds comparison tool because we can see 1.72 is the peak for Arsenal, 1.72. We can convert that quickly to probability so you can see what the bookmaker is essentially giving the team in terms of a chance of winning. So 58.1%. I don't actually like those odds for Arsenal. I think Chelsea have definitely got it in them to score, and Arsenal at this moment in time have definitely got it in them to concede as well. And for BTTS, 1.7. Now, this has actually dropped as I've been recording. This was 1.71. We can take a look at the movement here for BTTS. We can see that it's gone from 1.74 to 1.7. On 1xBet, it's gone from 1.7 to 1.66. So I think if you can get 1.7, if you can get 1.74, it's a pretty good price at this moment in time. We can also use the odds comparison tool to check out player shot on target data. So we can see Martinelli 1.66 for a shot on target, Liam Delap, Cole Palmer, Odegaard evens, Madueke evens. Madueke's not a bad shout if he plays this game. He did very well against Leeds. Yet to be seen whether he will actually come in and start this game. Caicedo 6.5 for a single shot on target, and he's actually decent odds just for a shot, 2.2 for a shot, Moises Caicedo. Now, we'll take a look at his data because actually that's not the worst price in the world when we check out his recent data using the player props tool, which we will do right now. Just a quick break from the video to say if you're enjoying the content, please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to get your predictions in the comments. What do you think is going to happen? Who's going to progress from this Carabao Cup semi-final tie? Will it be Chelsea or will it be Arsenal as they aim to win a trophy again under Arteta? It's been a while, hasn't it, since that FA Cup triumph? Can they do it, or will Liam Rosinha get to a final having only been in the job for a matter of weeks? So this is the player props tool, very simple, very powerful, very easy to use. Start typing the fixture you want, or you can search by competition. And we click Arsenal against Chelsea. You can see the other games, the future games for Chelsea are also there if you want to plan ahead. Always good to get your selections in ahead of time to beat the bookies and get the best odds, of course. So by default, it's going to show goals. We're going to go to the last 10 games here. And we're going to see that Enzo Fernandez is top of the pile, 0.6 goals per game. He's in some good form, isn't he? He's been playing as the 10 in Cole Palmer's absence. I wonder if he will drop a little bit deeper into midfield, but it's working. You know, whatever Rosinha is saying to him, it is working. 0.6 goals per game across the last 10, more than any other player across these squads. Let's now take a look at fouls per 90. Marino, top of the pile. He's not going to play. He's injured. Jesus as a pressing forward, not a bad option, but of course, I don't have the luxury of lineups whilst I record this. I would love to go with Jesus as a foul because I think he is good for it. Clearly, the data is right there, 2.16 per 90. Caicedo, 2.34 per 90. And it's going to be a good battle, isn't it, in that midfield today? Rice against Caicedo, against Odegaard. There's some really good players in there. Enzo Fernandez as well, as we just saw, in very, very good form. Caicedo, how many fouls will he commit this evening? But for Caicedo, we're going to see him again in a moment because he's doing something else in the last 10 games. If shots on target is your thing, then look no further than the trio of players, the trio of Brazilian players at the top of this list. Gabriel Jesus, 2.7 per 90 minutes. He's come back and he's doing well. He's kind of what they've been missing, really. He links everything up so well at the top end of that pitch. Havertz is also back now, by the way. Not as lethal, no way, and not somebody that takes many shots compared to these players, but still a good option because he's a useful player. He just gets in the right areas, doesn't he? Martinelli, should he start, 1.75 shots on target per 90. Esteval, what an exciting player he is. He could definitely have a big impact on this game, as he has in recent games for Chelsea. Gabriel Jesus, should he start, is a great option, I think, for a shot on target. Now, I mentioned Caicedo before, so we're just going to take a look at his profile here. We can see, you can get an overview of the last 20 games. You can change this to last 10 if you like. It'll automatically update everything. And what I wanted to show you is actually that he is taking quite a few shots. So he's had 2 shots against West Ham in the previous game. He had a shot on target as well. Got a yellow card. Classic. He does a bit of everything at the minute. Tackles, fouls, shots, interceptions, blocks, you name it, he's doing it. Against Napoli, he played 90 minutes, bit of a different kind of performance from him, no shots. Crystal Palace, he had a shot. He had 4 shots against Pathos. He had a shot against Charlton. He had 2 shots against Fulham. He had a shot against Aston Villa. He had a shot against Newcastle. He had a shot against Cardiff. And if we just go back to the player props tool and look at shots, so the shot occurrence over 0.5 shots, we will see that across the last 10 games, there's a few players on 100%. This means they've had at least 1 shot in the last 10 games. You would expect players like Saka, Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Trossard, Gyökeres, Martinelli, Jesus, Rice. Who's that? Moises Caicedo. 7 of his last 10 games, he has had at least 1 shot. Could he have one against Arsenal? Let's put together our selections. So this is what I'm on, and I may potentially have some other selections, so be following OddAlerts on X and join the Discord. But this, and I've got to say, shop around because BTTS was 1.66 when I just put this together, and obviously you can get 1.7 and 1.71 with some other bookmakers at this moment in time. So definitely shop around. Both teams to receive a card. Moises Caicedo to have a single shot in the game at 4s. What I'm going to do is put together a couple more, but this is my one. This is the one that I'm going to play. I'm just going to put together a couple more using some of the data that we have looked at today. But of course, we don't have the luxury of the lineups at this moment in time, but let's see what else we can find. So I've just put this one together as well, again using the data. Enzo Fernandez to have a shot, doesn't have to be on target. Gabriel Jesus to commit 2 or more fouls. I really like the substitution potential as well, especially with Jesus. Enzo Fernandez unlikely to be substituted in this game. Over 1 card for Chelsea in the second half because this is a knockout game. There is potential for time wasting, there's potential for fouls, simply stopping attacks if Arsenal are not winning this game in the second half, let's say. So that is 4.2, 420, great number. Let me know what you think about this one, and don't forget to get your predictions in the comments. Now, we're going to jump to the AI football predictions page because we've got a brand new feature and an announcement for all users. So this is our AI football predictions page. We're going to take a look at the championship section of this page, and we can see there's a featured insight here. If you're not familiar with this page, it takes all of our data. It uses OddAlerts AI, which has just received a big update as of yesterday, which I'm going to show you now. And it creates these really easy to digest summaries for the game. So you have a featured one here, and then you can show 4 more. What you can do now is generate an AI match report. So clicking this button will go away and get all of the data, get all of the live odds, all of the probability model values, and then it will return an insight for you. Now, we have introduced these new tags and labels. So it says Sheffield United fades late, Sheffield United is wasteful. So that's the shot performance of the team. Sheffield United corners galore, Oxford United wasteful, Oxford United corners galore as well. So we introduced those tags just for a kind of overview of the summary, and then you have the summary here. So the matchup, what the bookmakers expect, what the data suggests, and then you have these really, again, easy to digest summaries where it does suggest potential outcomes to you, and then it gives you the model's view as well, suggesting any value bets. So this is the new version of OddAlerts AI, and a big announcement is free users of OddAlerts, so you don't need to be pro, can use this. You will get 3 free generations per day. So really excited to have this in the hands of more people and see how you use it, because it is a very, very powerful tool. Saves me so many hours on research. It's been trained kind of on my brain and the way I would navigate fixtures on these very YouTube videos. So I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to get your predictions in for the Carabao Cup. If you've enjoyed this one, hit like, and if there's enough likes, I might just be back tomorrow for the next semi-final. See you in the next one.